I think it's working.
You think
I do
it
believe it is working.
Well, make your announcement.
We'll
is?
see.
Do you have comments?
Maybe.
Cheers. Good to
Ladies and gentlemen, 4:01 p.m., Canoga Park, California. We are working with a new computer today, so hopefully nothing interesting happens. But what's happening, boys?
Hey, well, I was thinking about it earlier. We say, hey, we have special guests in the studio, but we don't actually have special guests in studio. We have our friend and highwayman Aaron Baker in studio.
Well, he announced, if you saw the drop from yesterday, at the very end, he announced he is officially a highwayman.
Right. So
that was cool.
So it's not special guest, it's friend in-house, and we just finished the 5th episode of this series.
4th, I believe. Is it 5th?
Kind of 5th, because one was broken into 2.
Okay.
That's true.
So, but it was great. It was fun. It was an epic trip, and Aaron figured, hey, I'm going to come in the studio. We can talk about what a great journey that was.
Well, for me, and I think I've shared this a number of times and shared it with you as well, Aaron, but Teresa and I got home and we were talking about the how we planned this ride and set this thing up. And by the time we got home, it wasn't a ride anymore. It was this just beautiful spiritual journey is what we defined it as. One, just to watch you do what you do and get around and be on a motorcycle for 4 days. And then, but the bonus, we had your family with us. I mean, that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I call it a Chautauqua.
Chautauqua.
Yep, early 19th century educational tour.
I like that.
We
like
dig that.
Right? It's inspiring America.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I learned is he can ride a trike better than I can ride a trike. He smokes me.
Well, I mean,
That's because I'm strapped to the throttle. All I can do is twist.
It's go.
Yeah, it's my dad used to say, eat or starve.
Really?
So, yeah, when in doubt, gas it.
That's actually
Let her eat.
really true.
that
Because,
is a
and
true
I
story.
remember a 3-year-old kid up at Gorman, and he was on a PW50, and he could not reach the ground, but he rode around the pits, and he come up to people, and as soon as it started to tip over, he gassed it. He was gone, and he never fell down.
Yeah, there's some rules of thumb, right? Racing taught me a lot.
Yes.
And I apply it all to that black boar.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's, one of the things that we witnessed with you as well. I mean, that thing throws you around. And I don't think we probably paid much attention to that. When we came up and saw you, and then we went down to Dave's house, and we didn't really see you jumping around, but when you're doing 700 miles every day, you're watching you, and it's bucking you, and
Yeah, I feel the road.
Well, in this last video, you can see you actually, there's a shot from behind, like
cattle
3/4,
guard,
and you're definitely...
That's part of the fun with that thing. I feel the road. When the road's off camber, I know it. When there are roots under the asphalt, I feel it. If they're train tracks or cattle crossing, I jump them.
yeah.
Well, the thing that freaked me out when I was behind you is when you started swerving and then lifting a wheel off the ground.
I'm trying to find the tip point so I know where my limit is.
See,
Because if I do that on purpose so that I know, what the bike can handle, because God forbid I do get in trouble.
Right.
I'm running into a corner too hot,
right.
and I run out of road, I've
What
got to
can
know
I
where
do?
the tip point is.
Yeah.
So I do it on purpose to see where that is. And once I find it, then you can ride it. But I don't know actually where it's at yet. I'm still working on it.
Well,
yeah.
the other interesting thing, too, was, we had wind, we had a little chilly, we had some nice weather as well, but how come every time I pulled up next to you, or one of us pulled, there's a big old smile on your, like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, even when it sucks, it's still fun. The headwind was the hardest thing for me, just because I'm sitting, just white knuckling, and my strength, I'm actually, because I'm strapped to the throttle, I can't really hold on the way you guys can. So it's the wind was the challenging part, more so than I think.
I mean, so you have your non-throttle hand where you can do whatever you kind of want to do. You can relax and chill, peace sign, whatever.
As long as the wind's not too intense. When it's intense, then I'm down underneath the, the triple tree holding on.
Right.
kind of like flat tracker,
Yep.
trying to get low under that windscreen.
It would be amazing if somehow, someday, some way, we could get you on a Harley trike
Yeah.
that has that fairing, and it's got to be a different ride.
Well, that'll be the way that we can actually really get some long miles. I mean,
Right.
you guys typically log 700 in a day. I mean, that's proper touring. If I'm going to be able to do that, it's got to be on a tri-glide or something.
Right.
And I think if it was set up the way you like, I think you'd.
Yeah,
you'd
I'd
love
probably
it.
put a wheelchair on the back or a walker, or just
Yeah.
deck it out, carry all my shit, and hit the road. I definitely can't do that on the board.
No.
But I mean, I would say, we've pushed the limits and done big mile days, but the average, I got to say, is between 300 and 400 when we're going somewhere to Sturgis, and I think you can do it.
I mean, I can do it. I know I can ride that. If I can pedal a bike that far, I can ride that thing. But it's about what kind of quality time do I spend with you guys after we're off the
Right.
bike. Because as you saw on the end of that one day, I was smoked and couldn't go out to Hog's Breath with you guys.
Right.
I needed the jacuzzi. I needed to go to bed.
Right.
So it just depends on what do we want to do.
Right.
Do we want to party when we get there, or do we want to just log miles?
And we have those days where it's
We
both.
kind of do both.
Both.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are seasoned.
Right.
I'm new to the party.
Right.
But again, we could do. I mean, we did 200 miles 2 times with you, and we got in at reasonable times.
Yeah.
And you could probably do something like that.
I can do that, but I also had my family with me.
Right.
Right.
That was always my peace of mind.
Right.
So I could push 200 no problem, and then know that, okay, I had a wheelchair, I had, creature comforts, I had plan B.
Yep.
Right.
But if we're out there rolling solo, I got to manage it a little more
Right.
mindfully.
Well, and we would do that. We'd figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, how much time do you need in the morning? What do you need the evening? And you've got 3 new caretakers here.
He
And
Brothers.
he can take care of us.
Brothers,
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
look out for each other.
Yeah.
Speaking of seasoned riding, this is what you were saying, Galen, right? We were all feeling on the last trip. Day 1 and day 2, it felt like it was our first trip. 300 miles in, we were our ass, our back, shoulders, we were just losing it. And then by day 3, day 4, we were used to the big miles, but it was took a little getting used to.
Well, we
Yeah,
haven't,
that's how
we
it was
haven't
on our trip.
really ridden. You
Yep.
know, the only time we've ridden is when we took the trike with you.
Mm.
They were talking about after the foot.
Yeah, after
you
the
know.
foot.
So for almost 3 months, we didn't ride really. Josh and I rode to work every day.
So that was the
But-
first long haul in a while.
Yeah, and it was like, what's going on? Like, we had some weather, and it was just like, oh.
It is those first 2 days. I mean, for us, it was the second day was the worst for me.
Yeah.
But then day 3, 4, you start to get saddle
Yeah.
fit. Body expects it.
So what did you, I mean, when you got home, what were your thoughts around the trip? Because, you said some really telltale things in the video, like stuff that hits me is like, I didn't think I would do this on my Harley. It was a dream of mine. It was, I mean,
Yeah.
how did you,
I've been marinating on it,
Yeah.
Just unpacking it slowly. Just that smile continues, It's just more of a smile inside. Feel like, yeah, ticked that off.
You did
I
it.
did it, and now I know I can do it.
Right.
So if I want to do it again, I just do it.
I mean, we have this. We'll do. Let's say we go to Sturgis, or we came home from Deadwood. And we went 700-mile day, and it's like at the end of the day, you're like, that was gnarly. I'm tired. I want to have a nice meal. I want to have a beer. Blah blah blah. And you get home on Monday. The trip's done, but as soon as you're home and you're back in your element, your mind's already going, what's the next journey? Because you want to go again. So you endure that pain, but then you want it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely a part of that. I get home and I get a little like stir crazy, going, Start looking at a map.
Yeah.
What's next?
Oh shit! You are a highwayman if you're doing that.
Oh, that's just my nature, I think.
Yeah. We're
we
travelers.
We had lunch with a follower, Dan, yesterday. He brought us some Blue Label, too, which was great. Thanks, Dan.
It's right there next to
But he brought a whole map and showed us his Sturgis trip. And it was great to get the paper map out again,
Yeah.
What was really awesome is he had his map laid open, and we're right away going, wow, a paper map. This is really awesome. But he was showing us where he was going to go and stay, and every reference was, well, I saw this in your video, and I saw this part in your video. Like, he put together like 5 of our videos to do this big loop of Sturgis.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, that's the point.
Yeah.
So how did it feel when we were running like by Laguna Seca? Because you took the you were the leader.
Highway 68. I should have taken it a little earlier because we passed on 101. I saw us pass the exit for Spreckles. Spreckles would have taken us in back behind some of the farm fields and put us right on 68 without having to go through Salinas.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, shit, there goes the exit. I don't know where we're going now, but once we got on 68, just memories. I mean, all of Fort Ord. That's where I cut my teeth on a dirt bike. I remember running the river wash there on a YZ80, probably 10 years old.
Is that how old you were when you started?
No, I was 3 years old.
So you were like my son.
Well, yeah.
A 3 or 4 year old guy on a PW.
On a PW50. I wrote it in the book. And talked about the Christmas morning when Santa brought me the Y-Zinger.
Wow.
Little black and yellow PW50. My dad put pink training wheels on it. And I burned laps in the backyard with it. And I started racing flat track at the Monterey Fairgrounds.
Really?
We could have gone by the Monterey Fairgrounds. That would have been cool. At 5 years old.
Wow.
So I was racing at 5. Became mid-state champion between the age of like 5 and 8. Then I had an accident. And they thought I broke my neck.
No
At
way.
that?
At that age, because I was laying on the track, and apparently my little alligator clips of my rainbow-colored suspenders had come unclipped and clipped the skin, and they had put a soft collar on my neck, and I'm crying, complaining that there's pain in my neck. They take me in an ambulance to the hospital, X-ray my neck, and there's the damn.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, but that was enough of a scare for Toots to say that's enough racing. So hung the helmet up, young. Then Toots started taking us around the world, traveling, tried to relocate us to Indonesia. That's a whole other story.
Really?
Yeah, so that's where the whole enrichment came in.
But that's so bizarre how life works, because just telling me that, I mean, I got the chills hearing that, because it's like some things just happen no matter what you do. You can't stop fate,
Yeah.
you know? I
So-
mean, even like Toots saying, racing's bad, you're not going to do it. I'm going to enrich your brain, we're going to travel, we're going to learn, but you ended up back on a bike.
The ironic thing is Toots was the motorcycle
Wow.
enthusiast. It was her family that had motorcycles. They'd go out to Soggy Dry Lake. She was a badass on a bike. She would always take her friends out to the desert and ride circles around them, my dad included.
Wow.
So she was savvy, but, you know, she made that call when we were young. And then I think I was about 12 years old. I went up to the Cow Palace in San Francisco for an arena cross race with my dad and my uncle, and sat there with the same, you know, butterflies in my stomach, like, Dad, I want to race. So I went back to Toots and asked her, I said, hey, you know, I want to race again. And so she drew up a contract for me
Really?
on paper. Said I had to keep a 3.0 grade average. I needed to continue music. I needed to keep surfing and skating and doing all these other things. I said, sure. Sign my name. And that's when I started racing for real. Went all the way up to the pro ranks.
So you were in the pro ranks. Were you?
I had just turned pro in 1998, the end of 98. So 99 was my rookie season. Signed with a team here in Simi Valley. It was called Stiffy Suzuki.
Oh, yeah, Stiffy.
Yeah, those guys. That's another story.
I
I wasn't into that baggy gear thing.
Oh, right.
But anyways, yeah, 99, and then had a couple of supercrosses, and then had the accident.
So you actually did some supercross stuff.
Yeah, not to my, like, you know.
Your standard.
Yeah.
But you're young. You were young.
I was young and just cutting my teeth, you know, so. I was successful as an amateur,
Right.
but that's a different game.
Right.
So, I mean, anybody can win amateur national championships. It's when you turn pro.
And I know that vibe because when Lance was going up through all the amateur ranking, I mean, there was a point where we knew, you know, hey, you're a really great rider, but
Yeah.
you're not going to that next level, because the guys that are at that next level are really to
Yeah.
that level, and that's when he chose freestyle.
We had that option too.
Yeah.
I think Lance was right on the cusp of everything
Right.
going freestyle and actually being a viable
Right.
route.
Right.
You know, a lot of guys, like for me, it was you either make that jump and you're in the top 10, you know, getting factory support, getting a paycheck,
Right.
or you're just a vagabond privateer with no ROI and a shit ton of risk.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
where
hard
I
to
was.
hard to believe how many privateers there are out there.
And that's a lot of work because they
It's a
don't
ton
get
of
the
work.
cash, you
No.
know, unless they win.
Yeah,
know.
but you're still burning it in fuel, and I was living off a gas card and
Yeah.
Doritos and Gatorade.
Yeah,
Microwavable
Doritos are good
Doritos.
though.
Yeah.
if you get the taco flavor.
But you know, I was a bit delusional too. You know, coming off that amateur success, you're all full of it, feel like you're going to do it, and then it's a rude awakening.
So how you were 18 when you jumped into the
19, and then I got hurt at 20.
yeah.
So what were the racers, the pro racers then? I'm trying to think. Were you
Travis Pastrana was big competition.
So you were in that group.
I was just ahead of Ivan Tedesco. Ivan and I
Gotcha.
were good friends. Jake Martin, Johnny Marley, Robbie Raynard. I rode with all those guys. Charlie Bogard in Oklahoma and Texas, because at that time, Mom or Toots had moved back there to be closer to her mother, going through cancer. And I needed to kind of get out of the Southern California scene, anyways, because at that time it was a whole Warped Tour, punk
Yep,
rock.
yep.
Like the '90s era of motocross was
Scummy and Twitch.
those. They were babies still.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were. I know Colin real well and Jeremy. But yeah, they were. It was a lot of distraction
Yeah.
Right.
for wannabe racers. And I, was multifaceted. I love skating. I love surfing. I love the music scene. And I'm still trying to be a professional racer.
Right.
And I was completely distracted. So the appeal of Oklahoma land, way out on a
Yeah.
100-acre ranch, I could cut my own track and, get focused. At least that was the intention.
Right. So in all this, you're racing, you're doing all this stuff, and where's the music? Because you said that you were doing music. What
I
did
mean,
you
I
do?
always played. I played in high school. We had our own bands.
What'd you
and stuff.
play?
Guitar, sang guitar.
Sing.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Wrote a lot of my own stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and that was a big. I mean, it was disheartening for a handful of years after my injury because my hands are affected, so I couldn't, play the guitar like I used to.
Right.
And I can write some music, drop D, slide guitar and stuff, but it's just not like it was. So I've kind of fallen out of, I guess, interest with it.
Right.
But still love it. Love music.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, can you sing for us?
Nope.
Well,
Sing out of
Why
tune.
Yeah. That
Wow.
takes practice too, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
so you roll the tape forward, and you meet this beautiful young lady at a wedding or something, right? And you're parking your van.
Yeah. Yeah, crashed the wedding. I like to say that, but it was a mutual friend of ours. I was friends with the groom. She was friends with the bride. We never crossed paths before. But yeah, I was late to the event or to the wedding. And so I walk slowly and I need to walk, short distances. So I parked right up behind the ceremony. My big black wrapped van with my business logo on it, and it's right in the photo ops. And Katie actually helped produce the show, so she was the wedding planner.
She's like, "Who's this guy with his van?"
Right, get this guy out of here. So, anyways, I spotted her, and she was just gorgeous. But she was with someone else, so.
You figured another competition, you have to beat them.
Yeah, well, after the wedding, I planted the seed with Jason and Christy, the newlyweds, and I said, hey, your friend, I'd really love to meet her. And I stalked her on Facebook, sent her a little
Nice,
message.
That's the way to do it.
4 days later, we were having Mexican food.
Nice. So, I know the people that are watching that have watched the video, and we barely talk about your injury, but when someone's looking at you right now, they're going, he's moving his arms, he's moving his feet, he's walking around. I don't know, it almost looks like you're not as injured as you are to the person maybe looking. Is there any way we can tell them what your injuries are?
I'm guilty of that, of making it look easier than it is. my friends and family closest to me say that I should probably peel the curtain back a little bit and let people know what it's really like sitting here right now. I have nerve pain, like my feet are on coals.
Really?
So I'm compartmentalizing a lot of pain right now. That's kind of constant.
But I mean, you walked in here.
Slowly, with your help, right?
Right.
Every step is a thought. Like I have to, it's hard to walk and chew gum, literally. To have a conversation and walk in here is hard for me because all my bandwidth, my brain power is focused on moving things. So like this is all thought out movement. Opening my hand, moving my body. It's all conscious. Like I'm doing it on purpose. Whereas you would just do it.
Right.
And you can see some of that in the video too, where you've got to lift a leg over the bike or whatever.
Yeah, everything's an intention.
But I'm telling you, there's people that have watched the video. Maybe they catch, on YouTube, they catch you riding down the 101 with a, we're all right. They're not seeing a guy that has to go through this to ride. They're just seeing a guy ripping down the highway.
Well, that's kind of intentional too. I don't want to be, pitied for my injury. I want to just be like, hey, I'm doing the best I can with what I'm faced with.
And I don't look at it as pity. I look at it as envy.
I
because
think we tried to depict, because I think what he's saying is it looks easy for some people. But the shot of Josh, when he got your hand,
it's a great shot.
Sticking onto the throttle, and then you wrenching that brace down to pull your fingers down.
Well, that's the truth. Here it is. I mean, my wrist doesn't work. Like the nerve root from C6, which is like a tree branch, Christmas tree branch, comes off the spinal cord, was removed in surgery because C5 was fractured, it exploded, and so all the nerve roots were severed completely. So there's no innovation to my triceps, to my deltoids, to my wrist flexors and extensors. I mean, I can raise my fingers a little bit and I can feel pressure, but I can't feel, like this tattoo felt like a pencil drawing.
Right.
No pain, but spasms. Then you've got spots on the arm that feel like lightning. Like that is so nervy, just the slightest touch. So my body is really an enigma with sensation and movement and function.
But I think you have this will of, you're a competitor, so it's like you're going to compete against this as well. I mean, Toots said it. Most people say, I can't. Toots says, I can, and I guess that was your...
Well, that's where I get it, right? Toots.
Maybe. Thanks, Toots.
I'm so fortunate that way. I mean, look, she planted those seeds in me long ago, right? Like that's where I get my, I guess, fortitude and my mettle. And the only way I can honor that or repay that is by showing up and giving my best. And I mean, like she said, what's the alternative? What am I going to do?
Right.
Sit at home and let life pass me by?
Which would be very easy to do.
But I think part of
boring.
that's exactly what you were saying, even on the drop. Like the first message to you from, and nothing against medical professionals, but the first message is you can't, you won't.
Yeah,
And you guys are trying to swing that bat a little differently and get the message out that.
Yeah, I don't think that's real fair, and
Yeah.
I actually oppose that pretty staunchly when I speak to healthcare professionals and doctors and caregivers that meet somebody at their most vulnerable time at the bedside and plant a seed of despair or hopelessness. That's bullshit. In my
That's the
mind.
first thing they plant.
Well, what I argue is, look, tell me the facts. You can say you have a spinal cord injury. The body deteriorates when it is sedentary. If you don't do things, your bones will become brittle, your skin will break down, your bowel and bladder will be there's a long list of facts that you need to educate me about.
Right.
But give me the opportunity to improve the quality of my life. Say, look, you need to take responsibility for this. If you don't, then your prognosis is going to be true. But if you do, then I don't know what you're capable of doing. I don't know how strong-willed you are. So good luck, kick some ass, and get on with it.
Well, we've got to get that message out some way.
Well, that's what I try to do. with the book that's coming out, that's the message that I definitely speak about. And
So you've got a book coming out. When's it releasing?
July 26th.
July 26th.
July
26th.
26th. See that?
That's the 10-year reunion of Katie and me.
Oh,
Wow.
That's when we met.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Well, we're going to have your book sitting on this thing, but it needs to be signed too.
of course.
You know.
So how do they get it? Will it be on Amazon? Will it be where can they get
It'll
the
be
book?
Amazon. It'll be on therebelliousrecovery.com. That's the title of the book, The Rebellious Recovery.
We'll put that in the link.
There'll be links on my website
Okay.
and all social channels and stuff. So
We should
What's
buy
your
it.
website?
my website is I'm Aaron Baker.
IamAaronBaker.com.
I'm Aaron Baker.
We should get a couple of those copies. We should buy a couple copies, and then we should give them away on this channel.
Sure.
It's going to be. I'm donating a portion of the proceeds too of the profits of the book to Wings for Life
Nice.
in perpetuity.
Nice.
So
Well,
I'm
we'll-
happy about that.
We'll do that again.
So-
We'll do a giveaway.
For who?
Wings for Life.
What were you doing yesterday?
Wings for Life is a nonprofit that I'm very passionate about. They are an international nonprofit focused on finding a cure for spinal cord injury. They are Red Bull's charity of choice. Red Bull's founder, Dietrich Mateschitz, and his best friend Hans Kindergartner, who's a
Our Hans?
right Heinz Kindergartner from Austria. He's a multi-time motocross champ
Oh, really?
for KTM, Red Bull KTM. Anyways, in 2004, Heinz's son Hannes broke his neck,
Mm.
quadriplegic like me, and Dietrich from Red Bull was like, "Well, it's an injury. Why can't we, find a solution? Why can't we just, have a procedure and he can walk again?" In his mind, he's like, "Let's just fix this."
Right.
And so they band together and decided they want their legacy to be that they find a cure for spinal cord injury.
I mean, I like
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. So
That's great.
So what is that? Is that money and time and research?
it's
what?
research specifically. It's a ton of money. It's a ton of brilliant minds focusing on a lot of different areas of research around the globe. And the idea is to not silo projects, meaning to only focus on stem cells or only focus on rehab. We mandate that all these areas of study or research cross-pollinate each other. They have to
Because
talk.
you never know if something
It's-
triggers something.
Well, it's going to be a combination of the things that
Right.
creates something efficacious. So that's one of the unique aspects of our nonprofit. I'm on the board with them as well as an ambassador. But also, Red Bull puts their money where their mouth is, and they match dollar for dollar. And they cover all overhead costs, unlike a lot of nonprofits where 70% or 30% go to
Right. the
operationals.
Organizational operations.
Right,
Yeah.
and only 70% or so goes to the actual cause. Red Bull covers all that.
Wow.
So, if we raise $1 million, it's $2.
That's great.
And it's hard to find charities like that,
Yeah.
or foundations like that.
Exactly. So I
I
feel
mean-
very lucky.
I was on the United Way Campaign Foundation where we would allocate the raising of the funds. And you'd have to go out and look at these different foundations. Everyone needs the money, but if you're spending more on your salaries than you are benefiting people, you're not
Right.
going to get the donation pot, but,
If you're spending more on your salaries, then you probably don't really care about the charity that you're involved
So
in.
for 100% involved, that's not that, easily found.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's what I was doing yesterday.
Well, get ready for this book when it's coming out, because we're excited. for
I'm
it.
excited too.
So,
And-
yeah. How
and
many
you're-
pages is it?
It's about 250.
250. I can probably read that in a couple years.
I've been told that it's
We'll
got a
get it
good
on,
pace.
on voice, on books, on
Perfect.
demand or whatever. for you.
Right,
So,
we'll do an audiobook.
Yeah.
is the plan also to have a subsequent book?
Yes. I'm working on it now. It's more of a mindset book. I kind of tee it up in the memoir with how, and I think I mentioned a little bit on our ride. It's a method that I use and have used over the years of kind of setting my mindset up so that I can take on adversity consistently over time.
The
So
mind's an amazing thing.
it's what it's all about. All
Well,
is mind.
You told us some stuff about that at dinner one night, and I think it's so impressive, and you guys are going to need to buy both books. because it's just, you can't imagine what this man goes through. I was telling George, the guy I was talking to you about that I golf with in Ireland, said, how does he walk? And I said, from what I understand, everything is planned. His movements are planned.
Mm-hmm.
He looks to see if there's stuff he can hold on to. He needs a little assistance here and there, but it's a big mental game.
Yeah, and that's how I was riding down the coast. Is I was thinking a few corners ahead. You know, I'm looking at, you know, I don't have a speedometer. I don't have any gauges. It's all feel, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, we leave it off.
that's how I move. It's all like feeling and connecting and paying attention. Like I've said, I'm a rock climber without ropes, right? Like the risk that I take just to walk in here is high, so I have to be very mindful.
Right.
I look at the floor. I see how slick that is. My cane's going to definitely slide on that, so I should hold your hand.
Right.
Right. There's the wall. Like there's the handle. There's the chair. Like I'm looking for my moves. Just like on the road, I'm looking at the roots. I'm looking at the corner. I'm looking, and I'm feeling all of it, which is a great way to live. You know, it's called heightened awareness.
Yeah.
Well, I see it bucks you, and then you rattle back over.
Well, I better hold on.
Right.
That's a pretty big cliff.
Well, I've been trying to think of a better throttle for you. I've been mulling, just like what would work where you could put and still be locked in, but have this.
Well, actually, I've got a rocker. That day that we crossed paths,
Yeah.
I was testing a little throttle rocker for my Palm, which I Velcroed it on, and on the freeway, it was great because I could just lean onto it
Right.
with my Palm. But when you saw me, we were at the top of, what was that? Mulholland
Encinal
or
or
Decker,
whatever,
Encinal. And that thing was not good on the canyon.
Really?
Oh,
'Cause
shit,
you're
no.
ripping it.
Yeah, but I mean, because those corners are so tight, you know, and my bars are up, and I'm grabbing too much throttle
Right.
with
That's
that
what I
thing.
mean.
Yeah,
You're pressing on it.
Oh, gotcha.
too much.
It was funny. We were at we had a viewer come in, and you couldn't join that day. You were here. Went for him. I took him down to Neptune's for lunch, and I see this trike going by, and I start trying to call him because I know his phone's there, but no, he's gone. About a half hour, 45 minutes later, I'm heading up the canyon. I come around the corner, and dude is just sitting underneath the tree, just in the shade, just smiling his face. I'm like, is this a Zen moment? What are we doing up
It
here?
was.
And he's like, for sure.
Could you camp?
Yeah,
Bike
hell yeah.
camp?
I'm waiting to camp, man.
We got to take him on the current camp trip.
I'm definitely
Wow.
a camper.
Get a little tent?
I like under the stars.
Really?
Yeah, open camping.
All right. Well, there you
Well,
go.
speak to that little rendezvous that we had, because it was warm,
Yeah.
so you had to kind of chill out, cool down.
Yeah, I mean, with that whole theme of mindfulness, right? Like I'm riding down the coast and I'm next to the water. It's nice.
Right.
It's a hot day, but you start going up those canyons, heat goes up.
You're
I'm
working
working
the
hard on all those corners. And so I just, I start looking for a little peel off spot to park and cool down. Got a drink in my saddlebag. And that was a perfect little turnout.
Right.
Had that rock wall and
Yep.
a little weeping willow tree that I just leaned back on for about half an hour, and this guy comes cruising around the corner. And so
We have a little chat, and I let him go back into his zone.
it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I chilled out there for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
Guy pulls out of his driveway. He's like looking at the two of us. He was really looking at him because I'm clean, And he's like, "You guys okay?" We're like, "Yeah." I said, "Could we go up to the house and have a glass of wine?" He's like, "I don't think my wife would like that." But he was nicer than the guy that was your neighbor, kind of a neighbor across the gully that came out and kicked us out of his driveway.
Right.
You know what, though? I can see why that guy was on edge, because 2 weeks ago there was a follow-home robbery at
No
the end of
way.
that street.
No way.
Yep. Whoever lived in that house got followed home, held at gunpoint,
No way.
and they robbed.
He
the
looked like
house.
he was kind of a badass.
He was a
really?
Marine, I
Yeah.
think. He had a U.S. Marine tattoo.
Oh, gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that happened up there just recently, so
I wonder if it was.
on that street.
It's a White House.
Yeah, at the end.
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
So
That's just crazy.
we'll cut him some slack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cut him some slack.
absolutely.
That's why I wore the 8-ball socks today.
So you watched the whole series just like we did. We had fun watching. Anyone
Josh
out?
is a master, man.
Yeah, if you
That guy
guys
makes
want
us
to,
look good.
if you want to see how good Josh makes us all look good and how fast he makes us look like we ride, because it's really all green screen. Just kidding.
The whole
go
video
back
is
and
sped
watch
up.
the
He
series.
speeds up the tempo a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He just turns it
Watch,
up.
go
2 or
back and
3
watch
X.
the series because it's really fun. It's really
the
good.
best. It
Yeah.
really is.
Well, some people have reached out. I talked one guy through a whole how to ride a trike.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, we went back and forth with direct message there for a little bit. I was just giving him some pointers,
Wow.
and we had some great feedback.
That's
So-
awesome.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in Josh for one reason. He didn't actually get a copy or a shot of your toes.
Well, this might smell a little bit.
I don't know how
You
we're
don't
gonna
need to
get.
take them. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Oh, there they are.
There they are.
There they are.
Can you see them?
He would have to turn that.
Yeah, buddy.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
The colors?
Good.
Just leave it off.
Anyways,
We don't care.
Let it flow.
Oh, when
Well-
you took when we were in the jacuzzi that night, and I'm like, you really do have them painted.
it's no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a guy reach out to you and ask you about it. You've had many.
Yeah, I'm actually there's another a book that will be released later this year. It's going to be an ebook, but it's called Painted Toes, and it's an elaboration of a chapter that's in the book of when my sister painted my toes originally. In
That's
the
awesome.
hospital. But it's an exercise. It's a visualization technique for connecting your brain to your muscles.
So if you feel like life's getting you down and you're bummed out, paint your toenails different colors because it'll change your life.
Change
So
mine.
how do you learn these techniques? Was it through study? Was it through?
No, this was intuitive. I mean, this was accidental, but it became intuitive. Ariel, my sister, was trying to cheer me up in the hospital, and that's why she painted my toes.
Every toenail's a different color though.
Yeah, it's blue, red, green, yellow, purple. So she, I'm laying there paralyzed, and she just pulls the sheet back on my feet and starts painting me. And she's like, "If you can kick me, I'll stop." Kind of morbid humor, but
So she's got some inspiration going there.
man,
She's a challenger.
she was. But yeah, as I would lay there in the hospital, I had a lot of hours to just stare at my toes, and I started to use the visualization technique that I had kind of learned as a motocross athlete. A lot of athletes use that technique to envision perfect technique, perfect laps, winning. So I started to instinctively kind of connect my brain to my body. I could see my muscles, I could see my bones, I could imagine the electricity from my brain into my body, and it started to become colorful. So instead of it just being like white light, it was blue, it was red, it was yellow, it was green. And I was moving it through my body, just going, get through this spot right here in my neck. And then it was like a spark plug, my left blue toe.
Now do you do the same color all the time?
Yep. Blue, left blue toe, right red toe. I mean, it's specific. But those are the impulses, right? Like, here's an example of the slowness of the signal. So this is a spasm,
Yep.
right? Like, I'm not making that happen. That's just happening because it's a spasm. And then I'll send the signal to stop.
That's
You
amazing.
can see how delayed that is.
Yeah.
I'm giving a maximum signal, and it trickles through like a kinked garden hose down into the body to stop.
But the muscles are moving. The spasm is muscles moving, right?
A muscle only knows how to do two things. It only knows how to contract and relax, right? And it'll do that. A spasm is basically protective guarding. A muscle thinks that it's going to be pulled off the bone if it's not sent a signal,
Really?
right? So it's called clonus. And since I'm not sending a signal, it's just contracting and relaxing just on its own.
So if you never sent that signal, would it always do
Yeah,
that?
it just does this.
Wow.
So I have to send the signal to make it stop. So imagine that is the signal that I'm always sending to do this, to do this. I have to make those signals.
Yeah.
And that's where I get tired in the mind.
So if you didn't do all this stuff in your mind and your heart and your soul,
Then I
would
would
you
be-
be just in a wheelchair? Not
I'd be sitting like this and you'd spoon feed me.
really. So it just blows my mind how.
It does blow your mind. It blows your mind out. My mind, I mean, it gets tiring.
Yeah, I bet.
So,
Wow.
but yes, it is all brain initiation. But then, there's something to be said for muscle memory. That's why the cycling was such a big part of my life for a long time, because I cycled a lot before, and muscles do have, like, memory. And so cycling was just it's an elliptical repetitive motion that once you set it in motion, it can kind of just keep going. So,
Because even with weightlifting or bodybuilding, if you stop doing it for a year and come back, you're going to get back to where you were very quickly because of that memory.
you can, if
Yeah, it kind of depends.
Well,
it depends on
how old you are?
Well,
A lot of factors,
just
but
a lot of different. Yeah.
yeah, but
Wow.
to that point, if I stop doing this, then I regress really quick.
Really?
Yeah, I get
And you work out at the house. You have a gym and a
4 days a week.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
So you're 24/7 on the gas.
That's hard to sustain. That's my challenge these days, is aging with this injury.
Right.
Managing energy. Right? Life doesn't get any easier.
Right.
Gravity's a hell of a thing. So it's just managing time, energy, and risk. Trying to, have quality of life as I age.
Right.
Work smarter.
You're right.
not harder.
Wow.
Now let me ask you this. I guess all three of you. Favorite part of the trip?
We're all
I
sitting
think
here
there's
quiet.
maybe two. I just loved riding with you and your damn smile every time we'd pull up and you were holding onto that board and you'd just be just a great smile. And then to see your young daughter kind of push you around,
Yeah, that's
it kind of got me a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, because she doesn't know any different, and she's such a young, and she's gonna eventually be a young lady, and you're just gonna go, wow, but she's living with you and doing this, and it's just part of her soul or DNA.
I do feel, that's part of the silver lining. When adversity is so obvious, she's going to have some perspective.
Yep.
She's going to have a huge heart.
Well, it's really interesting because when I was getting my hair cut today, my good friend Sasha, who cuts my hair, he said, we were talking about different motorcycles, and he said, well, Harley Davidson, and this is just, he just was talking and he said this, it's got heart and soul compared to a lot of other motorcycles. And that's what he felt, and I feel the same thing. It's like there's this whole being. But my favorite part of the trip was the fact that we were all riding. Motorcycles, especially for us, the Harley Davidson has something with this commonality. So we're all riding. Yeah, you're smiling. He's smiling. We're all smiling. Josh is smiling, but our wives are smiling. So there's 6 of us that are riding and being on these motorcycles, and everybody is happy. And we all got the same, hey, we're going to eat tonight. Hey, we're going to drink tonight. So that's my favorite part, is what it does to the soul of all of us, no matter what. That's awesome.
We did definitely cultivate that.
Yeah.
that
Hans didn't smile. There were 7 of
Oh,
them.
he smiled inside.
He was.
He
was
actually
having
smiled
a
a
good time.
few times.
Yeah.
If you get a smile out of Hans, it's
Yeah.
a good time.
Right.
We caught him on film with it a couple
Yes,
times.
yes. So that, yes, I forgot about the other bike with us, Hans. That was great. It was fun
Can I say
having
mine?
one. What?
Can I say
If
mine?
you go speak in his microphone.
So,
This is Laura, my wife's going to say something.
I had a few favorites, but I was also loved that we didn't really know that we were going to drive up to where you grew up and seeing you and your mom take us over there and just knowing the whole background there was pretty special. Oh,
Thank
Laura
you. No,
just
that
got
was-
choked up.
it was such a special trip.
That was
it.
for me. That was it too.
Yes.
Coming around the bend there through Monterey, like I said, for a long, long time, it was a sad, time in my life. But what we were doing there was completely new, and it meant a whole lot to see it from behind those handlebars. And to make a whole new memory and paint it in a new light, and to do it with you guys, and to be able to tell some story and show you that home, which was a lot of fun for me as a boy,
Oh, yeah.
and to see that a lot of it hadn't changed, but yet I had changed.
Oh, yeah.
So that was special.
Yeah, that was pretty unique. And then to run down the coast and your buddies are checking the waves.
Oh yeah, Fisher was there checking waves just like when we were in high school.
So you can see everything we're talking about if you go back and watch this series on the YouTube channel 2LaneLIVE.
Yeah.
And the link is in the description.
Yes, yes.
Well, I need to give a shout out to a couple people because I forgot to do that at the beginning.
Okay.
Brett Parkin, Robert Lopez, Rich Grosh, who else? Brandon, Mike Fisher. You're mentioned on 2LaneLIVE, YouTube Live, all of you.
And these guys are?
They're all high school buddies.
Aha.
Once you said that, it reminded me.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
One of them actually, Brett Park, and I had mentioned him a while ago, and one of our viewers went up to him and said, "Hey, who's the guy on the motorcycle show? How do you know him?" So, you have any comments over there?
Well, we have a couple people wondering who this guy is that's sitting in the center.
Without the beard.
Oh.
Yep. They said they might have seen you at the post office.
Yes. Well, Saturday before we went up to the Live Fast rally, I got the guard out with the razor and I started just trimming nice and tight, clean, and then I like to take the guard off and do some intricate trimming. Well, something caught my attention and I went, so I cut half the, so I just shaved it off. I'm going to start growing it tomorrow.
Well, I would say if you want clean and tight, that's clean and tight.
No, I just wanted, I had some runners and stragglers that were like touching my ears and stuff. So I had to clean it up, but I went a little too far.
So that's Galen's brother, Galoin.
Yes. Loins. Yes, what else you have?
I think I answered most of them. We had people asking if we're ever going to ride in Michigan. Watch out for those Michigan potholes, Michigan speed bumps.
Well, we stopped in Sturgis, Michigan.
We did.
Went to Sturgis twice.
I was
last year.
born in Michigan.
Let's
That
see.
was a long time ago.
And, yeah.
So we went to Sturgis and Deadwood to show people what the rally area is like, what
Yeah.
South Dakota's like without a rally. We learned a lot. We had a great time, and it's like blowing my mind that we're going to be there going again to the rally in August. We're going to have some meet and greets and some stuff.
We got
we're
to
gonna
figure
do.
out a way to get that trike out there.
Just ride it, man.
That thing would.
I'll ride it.
I like to ride it. I like that.
Yeah, shit.
That thing would turn some heads out there.
I
Turn
mean-
some
Can we
interesting-
It's
put a
actually
bigger
kinda
gas
good.
tank on it?
Yeah,
That's
I
all
would
you
definitely
need.
just put a fuel bladder in that rear. That's not a big deal.
That way you
Put
could
10
go.
gallon bladder, and I, won't have to stop.
But even if you
We have to
stop,
stop.
Just literally all day.
yeah, really.
All right, see you
Yeah,
in
but
500
I mean,
miles.
if Sturgis was actually, it actually kind of coincides with the whole book launch thing, so I can make a little bit of a tour out of it, and I would take more time. And yeah, I've always wanted to ride it. There are some roads that I really want to retrace, from the bike tour.
Oh,
days.
that's right. You were there.
Yeah, I pedaled through Escalante, like Highway 12, and some of these others, up through the loneliest road in America, Highway 50.
I'd worry about you with the rally, though. I mean, people are sketchy, and there's tons of bikes everywhere, and they're all over the road.
Dude,
The
I
wild
was
boar
on
can handle
Main
it.
Street on a pedal bicycle in spandex and shaved legs during the rally. I pedaled up that road to Mount Rushmore, right where you guys were.
Really?
Sat there on, Mom and me, totes.
Wow.
In
So
spandex.
if you guys don't know out there in the
It's
the world,
spandex.
Aaron has ridden across the country twice. He walked across Death Valley once or twice?
Once.
Once. So there's a lot of action. Josh, you're moving your finger.
I'm just tapping the mic.
Josh, that
Just a
photo of
reminder
you
to
in
use
front
the
of,
microphone.
In front of Crazy Horse?
What's
There's
that?
a photo of Josh in front of Crazy
Yep.
Horse.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
that same photo on a bicycle.
Okay, so
In spandex.
In spandex.
before
in front
This is a
of a
man that
trike.
wears spandex.
I'm sitting on my bicycle looking at a black Harley trike.
Really?
Yeah, just admiring it, going, that looks like a
I wonder
possibility.
if I could do that.
That was back in 2008.
Really?
So I've been dreaming of this stuff for a while, guys.
wow.
So I can ride there.
So the trike was built 2 years ago? A year and a half?
No, 2.5, 3
2.5.
years. Yeah, but it's been a project in the works. And like I said, when we started it, it was just a rolling chassis. And I really didn't think I was going to be able to ride it. I was just kind of tinkering with it over the years. You know, really unsure if it was going to be something that is, plausible for me to ride.
When was your first ride on it? Once it was done, like where did you go?
2019, right around the parking lot in Ventura.
Wow.
Like, was totally unexpected. My friend who has helped me build it, he got on it, and it wasn't really ready to ride. The brakes weren't really hooked up. Like, it wasn't. He got on it, and he kept stalling it because the right foot is a clutch. Everything's backwards on it.
Right.
He kept stalling it. I'm like, move over, Jim. And I just got on it. No helmet, nothing. Like, wasn't planned. And didn't even have my hand strapped correctly. But I knew that if I could just feel the tug of the motor,
You could.
that would tell me if I felt it. And literally within 20 feet, I came off the clutch. And I just felt how that motor felt. And it was it. I knew it. I knew I could ride it within 20 feet.
Wow.
And so that's how it started.
That's how it started.
20 feet to a lap around the industrial parking lot, to a lap around the entire block, to a lap around Ventura.
You seem like you've done a lot of that.
Laps.
5 minutes, 50 minutes, 500 miles.
It's this. It's one flicker
Yep.
to two flickers to movement. Everything is like stacking Legos. Every movement matters.
Wow.
And I make sure that my movement is in a direction that I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't waste my time or energy like a pinball.
It must have been precise because a few minutes ago you were barefoot and I never saw it. Now your shoes back on.
Yeah,
That's
he just
magic.
went
That was stealth. Just boom.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah.
sleight of hand.
Wow.
Well, we didn't hear what your favorite part was.
Yeah, it was that whole making a new memory around
the house.
around the pagoda and
Yes.
going around the peninsula there.
How'd you guys find the pagoda? Or your mom? How'd
That's
Toots
Toots.
find it?
That's all toots.
Wow.
We also passed right there at the Highlands as we were going down Highway 1 there. Right as we got in, we had a home right on the sea cliff across from the Highlands.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I glanced over there to see if I could still see it there, but it was called the Gatehouse. It was a tiny little gatehouse full of windows that was literally right on the cliff.
Have you ever seen Nitwit Ridge? Or was that the first
We
time?
were there. No, that was the only
That
time
was the
I'd seen
only
it.
time you've ever seen it.
But that is kind of like a spot that Toots wanted to live,
Right, right. I like that.
survive.
So, she took you. Did you end up going out of the country? Did you say, or she was
When I was
planning
younger.
on it?
No, yeah, we went. Oh yeah. I mean, unbeknownst to us, I don't know what her reasons were at the time, but I think I was like 6 or 7, and my sister was 4 or 5, and
You just said we're going on a journey.
yeah, she drugged my uncle Keith, her younger brother, with us. We jumped on. First time I ever got on an airplane was a 747 bound for Tokyo.
No way.
Yeah, so we went from LAX to Tokyo, and then from there to Singapore, and Singapore to Jakarta, Indonesia. Rode a train for 24 hours down through Indonesia on this old, belabored, freight train.
Chugga, chugga, chugga,
Oh,
chugga,
yeah.
chugga, chugga, chugga.
Right through the rice fields, and it was a culture shock at that age.
And how long were you there?
A A little over a month.
Okay. But she just wanted to immerse you in some culture.
Well, her idea was that she was going to do a belt business or some kind of like fashion business in Indonesia, in Bali.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little bamboo hut on the beach on stilts.
Really?
And we lived a life there until she walked Ariel and me down the cobblestone street to the local schoolhouse. Then we were like starting to wise up to her plan. Enrolling in school. What are you talking about? I thought we were just having fun. And so that's when it got real and we started to kind of rebuke. So we came home instead.
Wow.
But yeah, her plan was to stay.
Wow.
That's when I started to miss the motorcycle though.
Yeah. And then so you end up in the valley? How did you get down here?
Motorcycles.
Yeah.
Racing. I mean, she raised us in Carmel and Monterey, and
Right.
I was the odd man out up there with a dirt bike.
Right.
You know, everybody up there, they're all artists and surfers, and so I was the only motorcycle, and I was always traveling to Southern California to race. This was the hotbed, and my dad came down here during the '95 earthquakes. He's a contractor, and
Mhm.
at that time he was doing insurance adjusting. So he lived in Westlake, and so I'm like, well, shoot, I'll go live with Dad, and that way I can be sponsored by, or I was closer to Thousand Oaks Kawasaki at the time. Yamaha Kawasaki,
Yeah.
they were a sponsor. And I lived with him, and I went to Westlake High for a minute. I was just racing.
So you know Jeff Harriet?
Yep.
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 He used to hook Lance up with bikes.
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yep. Thousand Oaks Yamaha.
Yeah, me and Billy Payne.
Yeah, Billy Payne.
Mm-hmm.
He was friends of the family with on
Oh,
Laura's
yeah,
side.
we go way back. So anyhow, that's how I ended up down here, because I was injured
Right.
here in Simi Valley, and they had a really good rehab program at Northridge Hospital Medical Center.
Do they still?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've seen some of your old videos of that, and it just, back then, it just looked dark and dingy, like it.
Well, that's why we had to start our own business.
Right, it was
And
like.
I didn't want. I mean, I'm living this thing, and I was tired of the old stale hallways and the fluorescent
Yeah.
lighting, and just the inpatient experience is depressing.
Right.
And I needed therapy, right? Like once you're discharged, then where do you go? You
Right.
don't go to 24-hour fitness. And at that time, there were no other facilities. And I needed ongoing therapeutic exercise. So it took a long time, and we had to save our pennies. But Mom and me, we put all our eggs in that basket and opened a facility. And I wanted it to have a door effect, right? I wanted somebody to come through the door and be fired up. So it was a cross between like a record store and a race shop.
Because the mind can do, the mind, it's very visual, and it sees this stuff, and the
Yeah.
feelings that come out of it, and it's like, and if you're in a dark, dingy,
You're not going to get anything done, yeah.
place, you're bummed out even being there.
Yeah, you want to come through the door and be fired up, and so I needed that.
Yeah.
So I made sure I was always saying, it's like the hair club for men. Not only am I an owner, but I'm a client. So
Wow.
the music was always pumping, the equipment was killer, the floor was ground down concrete, a lot of mirrors, a lot of vibrant colors.
Yeah.
It's great energy. So you can come in there, and despite whatever your adversity is, you can kick some ass and get it done.
Yeah. Because the mind can go some funny places.
Yeah, it goes dark easy.
And then you guys ended up, you sold that a year ago or something?
Sold it auspiciously just before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked it for a good decade. We had transformed our trauma into some purpose by being of service to a community, and not only did I need it, but it helped a lot of people. But we were kind of at an impasse personally. I wanted to start a family. Our business partner wanted to stay in one location, but I really wanted to drive it into like multiples, and it was just a disillusion in vision. And so it happened naturally, and we sold at the right time, because then COVID hit, and it was a terrible time for that industry, gym
Right.
business.
I guess they call that fate.
Well, you look at that shirt you're wearing there. Look at that thing.
Look at that shirt.
The endless 2 lanes. We got some of those on the shelf we can sell. You getting some compliments on that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Good threads.
Oh.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I think, we talk about fate all the time, and it's just, I think part of it's, I don't think we're lucky. I think part of it's the mindset too. Like, you create your luck, and if you've got that strong will and desire, then sometimes certain things just fall in line for you, and if it weren't for Jen coming in and grabbing us at the Harley Davidson Mulholland Harley bike night, saying, you got to come meet this guy, and we come running out, and you're on this crazy ass trike with a 3/4 on, and you're about ready to pull out, and we're like, hey, let's chat. And here we sit.
And here we are, all buddies now.
And we did a 700-mile trip together.
Yeah.
So it's all Jen's fault.
Well, and I had just
All
met
Jen's
Jen.
fault.
Really?
Yeah, I had just met Jen through another nonprofit that I work with, Artists for Trauma, and its founder, Laura Sharp. They're buddies.
Okay.
And, the pieces just started, as you said, to fall
It's
into place.
crazy.
So
And now you're a self-prescribed highwayman. We jumped into the gang.
I'm in.
It didn't hurt too much, right?
No, I'm.
Just the windy day was tough.
But I mean, you gotta. If you're gonna be a highwayman, then you gotta handle the elements.
Right? All of them. All of them.
Right? I'm not scared of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why it's like, if we're gonna go to Sturgis, then I'm gonna ride there. So.
No wuss over there.
It's 1,400 miles. That's cakewalk.
Yeah, you just
3-4
Do that in
days.
2 days.
you just plan it out.
2 days.
I know these guys.
I mean, I think they have an iron butt thing they do. I don't know. You know what that is?
You just sit in the saddle and grind.
You got to do 1,000 miles in 24 hours, and you got to document your gas stop. You got to show the timestamp. And
Is that on the way to Sturgis?
anywhere?
Oh, okay.
You can do it anywhere.
It's a group, and they've got more than just they've got
It's kind of like a Strava.
yeah.
So we've done several iron butt challenges, but we didn't do them officially. We just did them and said, "Wow, we just did an iron butt," but we didn't do the, pay
You get a
$50 or
certificate
whatever.
if you do this, and you got to send in, like you said, the receipts. But they have that. They have a 48 states in 10 days. You have to do. My brother-in-law and his father did that a year and a half ago.
Wow.
So the 1,400 miles we did it in under 24 hours, didn't we?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we set a whole new record, but we can't prove it.
Well,
No one has to believe
it's on
us.
video.
Yes, well, that's true.
Well, maybe it's not. Did we film all that?
Which was that
We filmed all the way to
2020
King.
coming home from Wyoming?
No, this last one from Glenwood, we went
I don't
to
think that was.
Glenwood, that was 700. Then went from Glenwood to Kingman.
Yeah, but we got
Yeah,
to
but
Kingman
we
at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Don't wreck the vibe.
I'm wrecking the vibe. It was 24 hours of riding, no doubt, but
So we didn't do it in 24, or we did.
not that trip. But 2 years ago, on the way back from Sturgis, we did something close. That was Wyoming to Vegas.
Well, we went all the way. We went home. You went home by yourself. That was that part.
No,
of the city?
that was 21. 2020, we went
2020
from Rock Springs to
Vegas.
Vegas,
Yeah.
which I'm gonna map it out. Check
Josh
it
will
out.
have those miles for us in just a few minutes here.
But see, I'm talking about my ride 700 miles to my buddy Jim, who helped me build the bike, and he's not giving me any sympathy. He's like, until you ride coast to coast on a hardtail, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. Well,
So,
after we did these long trips, we were saying, Iron Butt Challenge. Why? I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. I just want to travel, learn, and eat. And,
Yeah, right.
It just turns into a.
So I'm
race.
thinking of the wrong trip because from Rock Springs to Vegas is only 580 miles.
That's a mini.
But I'm not even,
That doesn't seem right.
it doesn't seem right, but it is.
That's
Maybe,
why-
wait,
No.
What?
no, that's as the crow flies.
Yeah, you got to put the. I mean, it's
I don't know.
like from Salt Lake to L.A. is 800 miles.
Now, like, can eagles or pigeons or anything like that fly that, or is only the crow flies?
Only the crow. That's what I hear.
Uh-huh.
Just crows.
It's hard for me to get into the competitions of the average Joe because it's not apples to apples.
Right.
You know, like I'm always just in my own little zone competing against what I can do. Because, I mean, for me to sit in the saddle for that many miles versus you sitting in the saddle, it's just different.
But I think it's a challenge for anyone
Can't
doing
be
it.
different.
You got to have anyone. We have to get a mindset to do it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not a hop in the park. It's
No, it's
Well, it's like the ladies too. I mean, we typically do lower miles with them, but they've done 650 miles, and it's
Wow.
because
In one
we
day.
had to. We had to get there. There was a wreck. It was a 2-lane road on the 66, and it was going to be closed down for hours.
oh,
So we had to make our way all the way back to Kingman,
and then back to
and
Williams.
then back to Williams again.
But-
so it was
And they
Long
opened
day.
it not too much longer after we left.
no.
It was open.
Maybe by the time we were getting there, they opened it. So we would have been sitting there for that same amount of time, but we had dinner too.
Right.
I mean,
Here's
I
what
think-
like. I'm just noticing. Proper highwayman. Look at the glove tan.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's pretty bad, isn't it?
That's the real deal.
I have the under the bracelet tan
All right.
because I wear sleeves but yeah, that's the
But see,
proper one.
that stays for a while.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
this will
the-
stay.
During my cycling days, I was forever a bodysuit. I had sharp tan lines on the
Yeah,
thighs.
So were you in spandex?
Spandex all day, every day. So for about 8 months after I stopped cycling, I was still tanned. I
Well,
mean, that
just
was
so
hard
you know,
lined.
when I take my bike around, I wear spandex shorts with a pad in the butt.
You know what? I actually wore
have those, but I don't. I wear them just around the house.
on our trip though. I was wearing my cycling shorts, padded ass.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had them on.
Hey, why not?
Helped.
Hey, that's a good idea. I think I'm gonna check that out.
Although during my hard tour days, I used to double and triple up on them.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when you're spending that kind of time on a bike seat,
Yeah, I just can't.
Oh,
imagine.
yeah.
I even took a Tempur-Pedic pillow and cut the center out of it and glued it into the center of my chamois.
Really?
Yeah, just so that it would sit in a sweet spot. Because at the end of the day, I'd sit on cold corn.
Yes.
Brutal. So the Harley seat's not that bad.
So on
Oh.
the corn with, I mean, you know, never mind.
He's talking about cream corn.
Or the cob.
Oh, yeah.
Or are you talking about the cob?
Yeah.
Cobb or the Colonel?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Interesting. But yeah,
Well-
those on a bike, if you're going to do some miles, they definitely
Bike shorts,
are
yeah.
needed.
Right on
Well,
the sit bones.
I propose in the next little bit we plan another trip,
Cool.
and I propose if you're comfortable enough with it, maybe
Just
it's
us.
the guys.
North, south, east, or west.
What if we do the Kern camp?
Maybe do that.
It's only 150 miles away from here.
Yeah,
it's
I've
only
been wanting to go up there.
150 degrees.
Yes.
We got to do it when it's a little bit cooler, maybe.
Yeah, but there's this cool campground right by the river, and then there's a motel right there. So while you guys are camping, I'll come and get in the morning. I'll leave the. No, I'm just kidding. We camped there
What
once.
about there's a rock up there, Morro Rock, or
That's
something?
up in Morro Bay.
No, not that one. It's up by Land of the Giants,
Oh.
of the big
The
sequoia
100
trees.
Giants, yeah.
And there's a particular like rock that has a staircase that you can walk the stairs all the way to the top of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably like 600 stairs.
Huh.
And I've been eyeballing that because
Really?
from the parking lot, handicap parking to the stairwell, I can hike that. And it's up in that area.
Huh.
So that's something I want to do.
Well, let's figure that out. But that may be a fall thing. Just depends on what the weather looks like.
Well, if you're in the normal river valley and canyon that we go, it would be hot for sure.
It's definitely
if you got
hot
up into
there.
elevation.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, I'd rather it be hot than cold.
Yeah.
Because if it's cold, then I'm locked up.
Right. Like we like to be like lizards on rocks.
Yeah, like I
We'll
mean, I
have to
can
figure
cool
that out.
down
Yeah.
in the heat, but if I get cold, like some of the weather you guys ride through,
Yeah.
then I'm just stuck.
Right.
I won't get warm. I'm too skinny.
Well, we'll have to fatten you up a little bit.
So even higher up, like Limestone Campground and stuff. I mean, in the evening, I slept up there all summer when I was river guide, and it's a great.
Let's go fly fishing.
There's a
You guys
fly
fish?
fishing place up there. I bet we can get. I've never done it. You've probably done it.
I've done it a lot.
So, in fact, there's a cool picture of you and your dad doing it. But I'd like to. I mean, I know that there's a nice technique.
You've
Yeah.
never fly fished.
I've never fly fished.
You're missing. out.
I've fished with a pole and a bubble with a fly on it on the kern and caught fish where you throw it just
No.
behind an eddy. Oh, we
Uh-huh.
pull fish in all day.
With a bobber?
I'm not, that's a different kind
Oh,
of.
I know it's not fly fishing, the
That's casting.
technique. No, we cast it, but it was a bubble and a fly. Jeff McPhee used to set it up. Just go, here's the easy way to get it. Boom.
See, I use my glove and I strap onto that thing, and once you get the rhythm and you're working that fly and setting it where you want it, that's a whole different kind of fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. Big trout. I did that.
I had
up
a
in,
neighbor that used to do bat fishing.
bat fishing.
He used to take his pole out in the street at dusk. I'm not kidding. And he would get a long lead, and he'd do this, and bats would, and they would go for it.
Never heard of that.
Yes. Look at YouTube for bat fishing. I've seen it. I witnessed it with my own eyes.
Josh.
Well, I've seen
I'm gonna look
car
it up.
battery fishing too. So
I have some old. I don't think I have them. All of my fly rods are up at our cabin, but I have some old hand made bamboo rods that my grandfather made.
Nice.
And they're just tight.
ooh,
Yeah.
Those are
Those are
really cool.
heirlooms.
They're
Oh,
art
so cool, and
collections.
the way they wrapped them, and he did all. He was a big. He could catch a fish out of a cement pond. He was that good of a fisherman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, he was just.
some guys can think like a fish.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff's dad used to tie his little flies, and he had a
Yeah.
whole case full of flies.
There's a great group of guys called Access Unlimited. Jesse Albury and up in Bozeman, Montana. He's paraplegic, but he's an outdoorsman, and he put a nonprofit together to get people in chairs out onto the Madison and the Yellowstone down
Yep.
on float boats and fly fish.
Yeah.
And he's got these float boats that are all decked out, modified for, adapted seats and stuff, and you'll float for 6 or 8 hours of the day, have lunch out there, and be pulling in browns and rainbows, and
Have
pretty
you
cool.
done that?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
Were you drifting?
Yep.
That's a little harder to do than just regular fly fishing.
Yeah. Oh no. We fish from the bank, but
Yeah.
the drifting is.
That's a little.
We had really cool guys as guides. They'd put us on fish.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun.
I mean, on the upper current on the Forks, we used to catch German brown trout, and rainbow.
So that's where my cabin is, up by West Yellowstone.
No way.
Yeah.
We're going.
So we grew up on some little teeny streams
Ooh.
where they're native, and you have to crawl up through the willows. You can't walk up to the bank, and they're little narrow streams. So you're just you're catching these little cutthroats. Crazy.
That's fun though.
Oh, it's just insane.
Montana's great.
Well, Yogurt says, I used to bat fish as well. Thought I was the only one.
Aha!
Well, that's batshit crazy.
Yeah, but
Right on,
What
Yogurt.
about noodling?
I don't know. What,
You don't know about noodling?
no, what's noodle?
I noodled with my wife. I don't know what noodling is.
Whoa.
Noodling's an Oklahoma, Texas thing. You get in these shallow rivers, and you're wading about waist deep, and you're going along the riverbank, and you're sticking your hand in holes,
Oh, gotcha.
Trying
Like
to
for
get the
pulling the big
catfish?
catfish
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
But you're sticking it in with snapping turtles and moccasins and other things. And even if you do, land a catfish, he's chewing your hand off.
I've seen the guys with it up to their elbow,
Yeah.
just fighting these.
I pulled a catfish out of a hole.
Really?
Yeah, it's scary.
I bet.
I mean, they're biting you,
Yeah, so you're all bloodied up, but that's called noodling.
but you got to fish.
And yeah, they're good cooking.
Has anyone noodled out there of our viewers?
Yeah, we got a couple noodlers in the house.
Interesting. I mean, when you first started, I thought you just got you said waist deep. I thought you had no shorts on. You're just noodling out in the water.
You don't want to fish with that bait. Those catfish will bite.
That.
I already got what I
call it a river rub where I'm from.
Aha.
Well, fellas, I hate to jump out of this, but this is a part of spinal cord injury. When I have to go to the bathroom, it's like now.
All right,
Okay,
let's
well,
go.
Do the. So, get back. You got to check out the series. It's a great series. It's up the coast of California. You'll see some beautiful scenery, some beautiful riding.
Come back.
Well worth the view. And we like it when you watch our stuff. So, you
What do
know.
they need to do?
Well,
Mash the bell.
yeah.
Mash the bell.
And subscribe and all that good stuff. How long have we been on here, Josh?
Well,
About
it
an
is
hour.
5:16, so a little over an hour.
Aha.
Let me get this camera over to you. A little punch-in zoomy mode. And
Well-
you can be the closer.
Well, we had a great trip to Deadwood and Sturgis, and the series is dropping this coming Wednesday. What it's like at the rally state in Sturgis in South Dakota
Before the rally.
before the rally. And we talked to people, we talked to restaurant owners, we talked to bar owners,
Historians, artists.
everything. It was a great trip, and we're going to have that starting this Wednesday. And it's going to be a lot. How many? It's going to be
Well, sorry, yeah.
minimum of 5.
It was 8 full days of filming. The first 2 were getting there.
Yeah.
So I think either episode 3 or episode 4, the first ones were actually getting into the history, the documentary interview type stuff. But then some of those days we had so much, we were filming so much that we had to go back to the hotel and swap batteries and unload cards. So there's probably going to be more than 8 episodes.
So it's going to be great, and then we're going to go back to Sturgis at the end of July, beginning of August for the rally with bikes, with our team that we always go with. That's going to be great. And then we got Kentucky lined up in September. We're going to go with Letitia Klein, and we're going to see Cave City, Kentucky, where she's running for mayor. That's going to be very cool. But a lot of great stuff ahead, and we really want you to get over to our YouTube channel and enjoy it, because we're putting a lot of work and effort into this, and we want to be in your living room and having you enjoy the same stuff. I mean,
You want to be in their living room?
Living room.
You want to be in their living room?
we want our travels to be right in there.
You
on
want to
your
travel
TV.
into their living room?
Yes, we'll
Okay.
I
travel.
want the travels to be into their bedroom.
If you invite us, we'll come. If you got a nice chicken dinner or steak, whatever you got going, we'll get into that living room.
But back to the the next drops, and you may have mentioned this, but we had some really great people
we did.
that took care of us.
Yes.
That have history around Deadwood and Sturgis, and you know, there's some really cool interviews, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really neat story to be told by these people, and when it comes out on camera, I think it's just going to be, I mean, they did a great job, you know, with telling us their history, and it was just amazing.
Wait till you-
And the hospitality that these South Dakota people give us, because in Raleigh it's a little bit,
They're
you know,
busy.
hectic and
Yeah.
busy, but man, everyone treated us just incredibly well.
Well, with that being said, we have everywhere we go across this great country, we get the people are awesome all over this country, and that's why we keep doing it. We have a lot of fun doing that. But
So I think he's going to be a few minutes.
Yeah,
so
we'll call this-
call it a day and thank him for that.
So-
we really appreciate him coming in studio.
yeah, and we're gonna. I think Jace is heading down here, so we might do some stuff with him pretty
Ah.
soon here from
Next
Fast Life
week, maybe.
Garage. He does some great stuff on bikes, but he's really into his podcast, which is really awesome. So
And then we'll be out at Born Free on Saturday. So
We will
if you
be at
guys
Born
are
Free, yeah.
around that rally, come on out, say hello.
yeah, definitely do that. So hey, thanks for tuning in. Go back and watch some of our great videos. We would be stoked on that. So hey, with that, we'll Down the road.
Down the road. Now I got to learn actually how to
Turn it off.
stop the broadcast with the
So
new
we shouldn't
software.
say anything